finally been finalized, and I'm in the process of uploading material for that. And I mentioned this a few times before, but now, we're actually at a point where it's complete. So what this will enable you to do is to go through the material as fast or as slowly as you want, but in a much more structured way, so that we can use these webinars and teleclasses to do some coaching with each other, to really, like, you can listen in on the actual, sessions at any point you want in chunks, uh, and then we can get together and really work through the material so that we get this both, in a knowledge-based way, but also in an in-depth way where you know the material through and through your nervous system, so that you can do the work both on yourself and other people, as we've talked about before. So, what are the symptoms that we're talking about when we talk about uh, going into the symptom, going into the rabbit hole? How is the rabbit hole? Um, the rabbit hole is just a metaphor for, if you've ever seen rabbit holes or heard of rabbit holes, it looks like a tiny little hole on the ground, but then if you keep going, it's like a network down there of tunnels of, it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And and this is a little bit like our subconscious mind can be at times, we start with one issue, and then if we follow it, it's like one leads to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And what I find with people is that most of the issues that a person has are usually at some point connected down into a deep root, or at least like a limited set of roots, a few roots. So as we follow any symptom, so the problem is the solution, the symptom is the messenger. The problem is the solution, and the rest of that sentence for us in the program is the attempted solution holds the problem in place. So the attempted solutions that we use are things like, what are they? If you're dieting, it's like, and if you're looking to lose weight, it's like, oh, let me try another diet. Today I'm going to start yet another diet. It's Monday morning. It's time. This is the time I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this, and this. And they try to fix the outside symptoms without going into the subconscious, if you want, and find out what is it that is really holding the issue in place in the first time. Sometimes it's as easy as just doing the outer stuff, but usually it's got to do with a lot more than that. So we're gonna look at how do we go in and explore the deeper structures of this. So other things that people use the attempted solutions are things like, addictions, where we just try to stop the symptom without trying to find out what is it that's actually going on the inside. We medicate it, we focus on the future instead of dealing with the now. We try to be more successful, make more money, get more fame. Um, but we really need to look at what is behind all this. And this is actually where the name of the program comes in, the Body Transformation Quest. Because when I first started this program, it started as a workshop where we did address things like body weight, symptoms in the body, health issues. And it was really a little workshop, it was like 3 or 4 days to explore, really how to map out and get to the root of those issues. For weight issues, it's very often to do with boundary issues, from the third chakra. It has to do with the lack of sweetness, like the person feels like there's no sweetness in their life, um, a lack of grounding. But what we focus on is the outer stuff, the outer, what do I need to eat? What can I not eat? What can I have? How much exercise do I need? And those things are important. they're not necessarily the things that's going to solve it. So I took people through this to get them to really go into the real issue of that. So this is why it got the name the body transformation. And the idea in the beginning was that it was about transforming body. But as I continued this work and as I started to understand the importance of the actual body in the process of transformation, I understood how much deeper this term actually is. Even if it can sound like a health program, a weight loss program, a build muscles program, or whatever it is so much deeper. It's like in order to access any of these deeper roots, it is that we go into the body. So any issue that we have in our lives, we can find the core root of in the body. So what is an issue? And I'm asking you now, what is an issue that you hear people around you have? Like, what are the complaints that people have? What comes up for people? What is it? Is it, lack of money? Is it difficult relationships? Is it frustration in terms of work? Is, weight issues? Is it, what is it for you that you hear from people around you? Any thoughts on that? Like, what are the common complaints that people have? What's an example of that? Stress from work, yeah, Abdullah, absolutely. Yeah. And what kind of, what is the stress about? Anxiety, yeah. So what are these things about? Where are they? Usually, stress and anxiety comes from, again, the perception of the mind, and also linked with like old core fears that we have. But if you take a moment to feel any issue that you might have or might have had felt in the past, anything. It could be a physical symptom. It could be a pain or an ache that you get. It could be a sense of anxiety. It could be worry about something. It could be that you get, stuck in your head. Then if you take a moment and just feel into your body, just feel your body for a second and notice, how does that feel in your body? This is the question, where in your body do you notice it? Where in your body do you notice that issue? So where in your body do you notice it? So just breathe into that and feel into it. So what is it it's trying to tell you? The symptom is the messenger, is one of the things we say. The symptom is the messenger. Whatever the messenger, or whatever the symptom is, the symptom has a message. The symptom is a gift in one way. It's like a deeply, in most cases, a very deeply coded or deeply um, a deep issue that is actually being manifest on the outside in some way, so that we can go in and deal with it. Again, as we talked about before, um, any pattern that's chronic, any pattern that is so deeply buried that we're not even aware of it, we can't heal it. We can't fix it because we don't have access. The gatekeepers of the subconscious mind keeps it locked away from us. So, as soon as it's accessible to us through a symptom, we can go in and work with it. So, what did you notice? What does the symptom have to say to you, or where do you notice it? As simple as that. Any one of you? Okay, so as you say, shoulders, eyes, and legs. Yeah, legs. That's interesting. You know, it's what if you look at the legs, what are the legs about? You know? Legs is kind of what connects us to the ground. Yeah, moving forward. Absolutely. And think of it, that connection into the ground. So, we can play around with these as metaphors and think, okay, so what does this have to do with for you? If you ask yourself. And the key here is to ask with the focus into the body. Because if you notice the difference between asking a question and thinking about the answer, and asking a question and actually asking a part of the body, like just as if it had the capacity and the intelligence there to give you an answer. Because the case is it does. So since you both mentioned legs, and we'll cover two others afterwards, what is that about? You know, what is that about? What could that be about? So asking your legs, what is the purpose of this? What comes up for you? What do you notice? The need to move, yeah, Lisa? Yeah, definitely. I feel, yeah, I need to move faster, you know. So both of you are answering quite similar things, really. Like, and if you ask them, what is so important about moving? Why is it important for me to keep moving? Then I need to move faster. Yeah, so what's going on with that? Yeah, I can't stop when things will not get done. So what would happen if you stopped? Yeah, I need to be there for others. Right. So those are two different things. They might be similar. So this part that says, for you, Abdullah, it's like I have to keep going, or I have to, continue to move, or things won't get done. Where do you notice that part? And Asa, the part that says I need to be there for people or for others. Where do you notice that part? So where in your body do you notice those parts? Hmm. So just go in and ask. Okay, in the heart. Yeah, that makes sense. And what about you, Abdullah? Where do you notice it? Where do you feel this part that I just can't stop, or things won't get done, or I won't get as far as I need to go, and all that? Legs, eyes, and heart. Okay, great. Yeah, that's interesting because that's exactly, or very close. Again, the eyes and also the jaw. Yeah. So the hips and the jaws are very connected energetically. The eyes, if you can imagine, like, what is it behind your eyes? Because you both said eyes. Hold the curiosity and go into what's behind your eyes. Like, notice the energy around your eyes. I mean, is there tension? Is it a closure between the eyes, like the third eye part? What's going on there? And just explore this area, like even, with the jaw, you're saying, Abdullah, what's going on with your jaw? Is it tense? Is it holding? Yeah, third eye part. So just feel into this part and feel all of this tension. And what you will see, as we move forward in the program and as you go through the material, yeah, the eyes are tense. And the eyes are very connected to, it's connected to both the solar plexus and the third eye chakra. So the third chakra and the sixth chakra. So the third chakra, it's like, who am I? Who do I need to be? How do I need to behave? Like impulse control, it's got to do with action. Fire is the element, and it's like, who do I need to be? Am I okay as a person? And the sixth chakra, the third eye, is like, can you see clearly how things are going to work and how things are going to work out? It's like, if I ask you both, and we're just kind of going down little different caves of the rabbit hole here. Um, so if you actually focus um, on this area, yeah, who am I? Yeah, this is great, Abdullah. So I have this idea who I am if I'm not developing and moving. Yeah, so there is something there, and we have talked about it briefly before, that says I have to keep going, I have to be better, I have to. I mean, these are my words, but something like that. Like, who am I if I don't do this? And I want you to keep that question for yourself. Who am I if I don't do this? Because ideally, what we want to do is to give you choice around this, so that it's like, we don't want to take away your drive, because you're obviously very talented, and you have this ability. This is a great gift, but the gift can also become a curse if it is a driven, no choice, compulsive thing. And you guys know this very well. So it's like, we need to find a way where we can create choice, so that you can still have your drive, but you know your value, whether you're moving or not, so that isn't a conflicting area. But if you take a little moment and just go into that area behind the eyes, and just feel that area, and see how clearly do you see things working for you in the future. Can you see pictures? Can you see a movie? Is it color? Is it black and white? Is it bright? Is it far away? Is the picture far away? Are you in the picture, or are you seeing the picture at a distance? Or is it difficult for you to even see a picture? What happens when you try to see a picture? Usually when people have eye problems, it's got to do with some kind of tension. It's like our perception or our lens is adjusted in the wrong way. It's like farsighted. It's like almost, these are just metaphors. There's no absolutes here. But if we're just curious about exploring, it's like that far-sightedness. It's like looking too far into the future, always being in another moment, not where I am at the moment. Short-sighted, what is it we don't want to look at? What is it we don't want to see? Astigmatism, you can imagine, you know, where does it kind of go? Where does it cross here? What is it? Is it a conflicting thing? Is it, I want this, but then if I have that, I'll also have this, you know? A confusion. Yeah, it's confusing. What is confusing? So I say you're saying it's difficult to see because it's confusing. Um, that's interesting. And if we have conflicting issues, it's likely to be confusing. It's like the association in our mind is, it can be dual. It can be two things. Yeah, great. So you see a bright picture through your eyes. What do you see? I'm just going to continue talking about the confusion bit. It's like, it can be that it's like a dual way of seeing things. Like, if I have this, it's desirable for one part of me, but not for another part. It's like different parts of us want different things. This is very often the problem, where if we look at um, an issue like, say, weight loss that we started talking about, usually there's a part of the person who desperately wants to lose weight, for instance, and there's another part that doesn't. Like a deeply buried subconscious part that says, for example, that if I lose weight, I won't be safe. So the subconscious mind says it's not desirable to lose weight. So yeah. So I'm just going to ask you some questions about the things you say, both of you. So Abdullah, you say, I see a bright picture through my eyes, a beach, and it's sunny and it's warm. This sounds very pleasant. Um, the question is this picture in the future? Or in like, how far into the future is this picture? Just have a think about that. And then Asa, like, this makes sense because you said it's like confusion. There are choices I want to make, but I always think of others. I agree about the different parts, yeah. So always think of others. And the problem with others is that there's usually more than one other person. So it's like you get that thing of, okay, so if I have 5 different people who have 5 different wishes, then how do I please all of them? You know, this is why that developing that compass inside ourselves, this is the second chakra issue of really feeling ourselves before we feel others. And we've talked about that. Yeah, okay, I get it. So Abdullah just said, I feel it's very far, and that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So it's the way we can start working with this, and it's great actually that it's just the two of us or the three of us today, because we're switching systems, and this gives us the chance to just do, you know, a coaching session between us, and I'm actually loving that. So, you know, Asa, if you think of this, like you're always thinking about others. So for a little bit, I want you to go into yourself and imagine moving other people further away from you. And I want you to make them, just for now, just make them black and white. And just notice what happens. So move them further away. So there are other people who have their opinions and are expecting things from you and want things from you. But just move them further away and make black and white. You know, we're really moving into using the palette of the senses to code and to impact the nervous system. And see what happens when you move them further away. And then I want you to really feel into you. What do I want? What do I feel? What do I like? What do I want? And I want you to ask yourself the question, just as if your choices would not impact negatively or hurt any other people, then what? Then what would you want? So if your choices did not hurt any other people or disappoint or let down any other people, what would you want? If other people would support you in anything you want, just take a moment and think about that. And Abdullah, if you say this future, which is really bright, and colorful, and nice, it's really far away, and that makes you sad and impatient. I want you to imagine, because you know this is a very normal pattern to have. People put this big, bright, beautiful future into the future. It's like far into the future. So it's almost like I need to hurry up to get there. But it's almost like because the way it's coded in our minds, it's almost like a non-winning battle. Unless we change this coding, it's like we're always chasing it. It's like we never quite arrive there. And it's like being a hamster on a wheel, or you know, one of those donkeys that have a guy sitting on top of it with a stick and a carrot, and we're always chasing that carrot, but we never get to it because our mind has set it up so it's not really desirable to reach it, or at least it has associated something to reaching the goal that makes it not happen. So I want you to imagine, what would it be like if you started moving this picture closer to you, just a little bit at a time? What happens when you do that? what happens when you start moving this image closer? And then for you, Asa, just if other people were not disappointed or not upset with you, what would it be like to just, what would you want? Just feel what you want, what you like. And when we go into these things, it's like any little subtle nuance of sensation in the nervous system are deep messengers so that we feel into it more and more and more and just feel any change, any little, call it vibration or twitch in the muscles or temperature change or any subtlety that you notice. And since we're working with the eyes, obviously right now we're dealing with visuals. And when we deal with visuals, I tend to use some of the pieces that NLP has used with modalities and things like that. It's almost like if you think of your senses being a palette, and to really explore how has the mind coded it. When the mind is under stress, it codes things in a certain way. If it sees things as stressful or dangerous, it codes it in a certain way. If it sees things as being beautiful and wonderful, so under stress, it usually codes things like, you can imagine, like if you're in a danger situation, you don't need all the subtle nuances. You need quick digital on and off, uh, often black and white. Just all I need to do is to see, does that bear, is it coming at me or is it still standing over there, for instance? How do I react to this very fast? How do I leave out the detail and focus exactly with tunnel vision on what I need to focus on? While if it's a safer environment, it's like it usually gets more colorful. If we're present in the here and now, it's usually close to us. Sometimes it's too close if we don't have boundaries. If you think of this very symbolically, if somebody's too close and too in your face, you don't have any space to be you. So this is something you might explore, Asa. Is there anyone who's too close to you in terms of how you code people? What is it? Because you're saying, I feel a relief in my heart, but my eyes are still tense. So it's like, what is the tension about? What is it you are not allowed to see or that you don't want to see? Or what is going on? So just keep feeling into that, keep noticing that, and exploring that by just holding that curiosity, feeling the tension. You can maybe exaggerate the tension for a little bit and see, okay, and just think, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? It's like, why do I tense? I know that I used to hold, and there probably still is a little bit, but I used to hold a lot of tension around my eyes. And it was almost like it was just not safe to be seen. But that was my personal thing. It was like it wasn't to be visible at all. So, and that tension I held in my eyes. So just notice, Arilla, what happens when you move this future into the here and now, or at least a little closer. Or even if you take a little moment and imagine arriving there. What happens if all of a sudden you're on that beach and it's sunny and warm and you have arrived? What does that feel like? Is that a good feeling? Is it a strange feeling? Is it a disappointing feeling? Just notice what happens. The subtle sensations. Yeah, legs no longer in pain. That's great. So you can see that, of course, there's a bigger picture here than just what we're working on now, but it's like as long as your mind has fixated on a coding that says every good thing for me, and again, these are my words, but it's like all the good things for me are in the future. You know, I can't have them yet. I have to run really fast. I have to strive. I have to work. I have to keep going. Blah, 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 blah. I have to kind of, run like crazy here, and I can never stop because everything is in the future, you know? Then it's like you can never relax. But the problem is, until you become aware of it, it just doesn't, like it's like you can't really arrive. It's always in the future. So it's like if we do a simple thing, but just moving it to you, then changes that setup because at some point in your past, that was probably a necessity. You were probably, maybe you were unhappy, maybe you were unfulfilled, maybe you just knew because you were going through an education, which, we know that we're preparing for the future. Your mind somehow coded that one day I'm going to have it all, but I just have to work hard for it. But then that can fixate in the mind so that the future is always the future. So by playing around with, and now you're learning how, playing around with moving that into you, um, just notice in what form does it need to take to keep you motivated, to create your life. Still enjoy it now. Life is now. Life's not in the future. Okay, so you say I feel vulnerable if I relax my eyes. What happens? What is it that you're holding in your eyes that maybe you need somewhere else? It could be things like boundaries. Because, when you have so many antennas to other people, what do they need? What do they want? What are they asking from me? It could be, and I'm just throwing something out here. It could be that you don't have the boundaries from the right place. So it's almost like your eyes have this idea that if they hold tension, you almost like keep people a little bit at distance. I don't know if that's it. I'm just giving an example of what it could be so that you can explore what it is for you. Because if you see, the way we code things in our systems is just so different from different people. Although the systems are easy to learn, like, there is a simple system to all this. Every individual is obviously unique and everyone's an expert on themselves. And, whether we work with clients or we work with ourselves, we can't assume. This is the danger of the mind. We can assume that it's like if it's like this for you, then this, that's the danger as well of using, for example, the body parts as a symbolic thing, like a metaphor. Some people, you get these books and they can be useful as a guide. If people say, well, um, legs are always about this, or eyes are always about this, arms are always about this. It's like I don't think that that's necessarily true. It's always a symbolic value that we have to explore on a personal level. What has my mind coded this to me? So yeah, so I feel vulnerable if I relax my eyes. And this is really beautiful because you say I feel afraid to show my true core. And this is really, really key because this is what the solar plexus is about. Even if you feel the area of the solar plexus, just, you know, they're on top of the stomach, if I can call it that. With the diaphragm and all that. You can imagine the diaphragm being that muscle, but then at the same time, the solar plexus, if somebody hits you there, it's like a really sore spot. It really hurts, and it's like it's really exposed. And this is, out of our 12 keys, this is the key that says, um, can you shine your light? And it's, all those areas around identity. Who am I? Is it okay to show who I am? If who you were as a child was disapproved of in some way, or if you somehow concluded that you needed to be a certain way, what happens if you now show your true core? Most human beings, are walking around Um, they're walking around hiding who they are. They're putting on masks. They're putting on masks of, yeah, I'm fine, don't worry about me. They put on masks of success. They put on masks of, everything's fine, I'm okay. Um, Look at me, I have the expensive car, the fancy clothes, the nice house, I'm okay. Yeah, masks of perfection. We say we have three masks. This is like generalized masks. Um, we have, I'm gonna go to the next page here. So if we do, just look at our masks. So we have the love mask, we have the power mask, and we have serenity mask. So the perfection mask would probably be around power. It's like, look at me, I'm fine, I'm okay, I've got it all together, I'm okay, I'm strong, I'm good, The love mask is usually becomes the people pleaser. I'm such a loving, really nice, great person, you know. Look at me, I'm always nice to people. I don't have needs of my own. Um, I am always nice, never angry, never ugly, never bad. And the power mask, I don't need anyone. I'm fine. I'm full. I have everything I need. I'm successful. I've got the fancy car. I've got the handbags. I've got, you know, the perfect education, the perfect job. All that stuff. The serenity mask is almost like I'm fine and I've got it all together. Sometimes you see it in um, new agey people, the yoga teachers, sometimes the personal development trainers, I'm sure, oh, I've got it. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. I'm fine. And all of these are masks, to actually show your true self is can be quite a challenge. It exposes everything we're about, everything we fear we are. So I'm going to put a couple of questions up here. And it's actually a statement. What I want you to see is, and so what I'm writing is, what I want you to see is, and what I'm afraid you will see is. So if I ask you, what is it you want another person to see? How do you want people to see you? How do you want to come across as a person? You know? And I want you to just have a quick look at this again. Which one of these do you think is your mask? Are you the people pleaser, loving, I'm always okay, lovey-dovey, I'm the nice guy, nice girl, always nice, never angry or ugly? Or are you the power mask, The harder a tie you get, the stronger you get, and the more powerful, and Or is it, oh, everything's fine with me, don't worry about me, I'm okay. The serenity mask. Which one is your favorite? And I'll tell you, mine was definitely, I think the power mask. And it was like displaying an image of success. Well, it wasn't just an image. I was creating the success. So it wasn't just like an illusion. It was, oh, look at me. I'm fine. Don't worry. I'm okay. So yeah, perfection versus failure from Abdullah, great. So yeah, and also like the more I needed people, the more I displayed complete independence and not showing people I needed them. So that was a power mask for me. It's like, oh, don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. I'm completely independent here, you know? So the more I needed it, the more I felt vulnerable, the more the power mask came on. So if you look back at this sentence, the problem is the solution, and I'm going to add a sentence here. The attempted solution holds the problem. Okay, that didn't fit at all, but you get the point. There you go. Holds the problem in place. So this is our sentence from last time. So my attempted solution was to become even more powerful, as in even more independent, even more successful. So I would just, go out, make more money, do more impressive things. It was like, but the truth was, the route that went down the rabbit hole was that was probably the times when I was vulnerable, when I did need somebody, but because I didn't know how to reach out, um, then the mask actually held the problem in place. If I had gone into the real issue and learned to reach out, that would have solved the problem. That's what I, you know, that's what would have healed it for me, and that's what did heal it for me once I understood how this worked. Um, so if I ask you, what I want you to see is, and I think for me, let me see, what was it? I want you to see is, I think the sentence that comes up in the past was, I'm fine, I'm okay, don't worry about me. Uh, go somewhere else. Don't worry about me, leave me alone. Like because it was scary to get that attention. And I think what I was afraid of was, um, what I'm afraid you will see is, I think especially growing up, it was that I feel alone, that I feel lost, that I feel, um, yeah, like that I have needs, as in needs of like comfort from other people, comfort like love, and that was a really hard one for me to get past. So, if you think of this for you, what is it? What is it you want? What is it you want people to see? What is the image? And this might not be conscious. This might just be what something in you have created. Like, what is it that you want to display, that you want people to see? What I want you to see is this. I want you to perceive me in this way. Abdul, I can do everything. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I can do everything. So for me, hold on, I can do everything. That's a good one. Right, so that says I'm perfect, I'm good, I'm successful. So it's like Abdullah then it's like the power mask, isn't it? It's like I can do anything. I'm a superstar, which is very similar to mine, although I also have that like that independent. I don't know if you have that too, but like I am absolutely fine. I'll manage on my own. Don't worry about me. And Isa, it's like, yeah, I'm perfect, I'm good, I'm successful. So it's like a little bit of all of them in a way. But yeah, you said serenity, definitely. But then question two is saying, what I'm afraid you will see is I'm afraid, I'm tired, I'm losing it. Exactly. So again, the attempted solution, which in this case is what do I want you to see, is holding the problem in place. And what I'm afraid you will see is where we find the real solution, where we allow people to see those things, you know. For me, it was the scariest thing in the world to show that vulnerability. But it was really what set me free. It was so incredibly healing. And to allow people to say, see, I'm afraid, I'm tired, I'm losing it, and I need your acceptance, you know. And if you go even further down the rabbit hole on the acceptance thing, and on, afraid you're losing it. It's like now we're asking, where in your body can you feel that? Where in your body do you feel this need for acceptance and this, I'm afraid, I'm tired, I'm losing it? You know, if I feel into this vulnerability, whatever's left of it, it's still there, but it's now almost like a healthy messenger as opposed to something that's really deeply buried. It's definitely in my stomach. And it's like it is almost like a part that you just break down and cry. Like, oh, you know, like give me a hug, like but in a I need comfort kind of way. Or I need someone, which was exactly the opposite of what the number one, what do I want you to see, was I don't need you. I'm fine on my own. I'm okay. I don't need help. I don't need support. And then the second one is that I do need someone. So, and yeah, that's all in the stomach. And as I feel into that, now even I can feel a deepening of energy flowing into the hips. The face is relaxing more. So just notice. What do you notice this part? What I'm afraid you will see is, hmm, what I'm afraid you will see is this. And going into the yeah, feeling my face and my heart. Yeah, just keep feeling into and sensing those places. Notice the distinctions and the sensations. Is it a tension? Is it um is it holding? Is it like what's the quality of this? Is it a heat? Is it a cold? Is it a shaking? Into it and into it and into it and feel it. Shaking sensation, you're saying, Lisa? Yeah, it's great. So just notice the difference between starting to think about what this is and actually just keep feeling into the issue. I'm afraid you will see me as I really am. You know, just keep opening up this cage that we have built in our bodies somehow around, I'm afraid people will see me, the real me, the true me. The thing is, we're neither one of us. If you say, I'm perfect, good, or successful, that's just a mask. But it's also the truth. The truth is you are perfect. But this is the mask holding it together. And the paradox is somewhere deep inside, there is that perfection, but the perfection doesn't look the way we think it will look. But you're saying, I'm afraid, tired, losing it. That's not you either, but it's a part of you. It's a part of your body that's sending a message of what you need. It's like the part that's afraid maybe needed more support, maybe needed more acknowledgement, someone to be there and guide him through the world and say, this is how you do things. This is how it works. You're doing just fine, you know? You're doing it right, You're making the right choices. Tired, I'm tired. how do you make sure that you listen to your body and get enough rest? But this doesn't feel like get enough. So tell me that this just feels like a deeper thing where you're holding so much together to please people, to make sure everything you're doing is right, you know? And then maybe losing it is a good thing, depending on how it comes out. But it's just to just let go and be allowed to just be. Yeah, tired of keeping an image or a mask, returning to the authentic self, you know. It's a place where we just don't have to hold it together. You know, they say there is no such thing as an inconsequential lie. And in one way, holding it together, keeping the mask is a lie. And anytime we lie, and I don't mean that in terms of you being a liar or anything like that, but it's just, you know, when we have to hold this together, it's just so tired. It's exhausting. You know, we're always trying to achieve. We're always trying to dress up. We're always trying to perform. And even when people validate us, this is the paradox here, because even when people validate us for our masks, oh look, he's got a beautiful, wonderful mask. He's really got it together. He's perfect. He's good. He's successful. It's like the validation isn't for our true selves. So there will be a feeling of it not being true. And when we're not authentic, when we're not honest, we're not in integrity in this way, we also get a deep feeling of self-betrayal. Yeah. Well, anything, validation can feel good, but it becomes like a drug. You know, a glass of wine can feel good, a drug can feel good. I mean, people, I mean, it's not a bad thing, obviously. It's like the pat on the back where it's like, yeah, you did really, 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 really well. Amazing. But it's very different from really feeling solid and loved at the core. So the validation can still be nice, but you don't need it. You know, it's like the question is it something that comes like a drug? Is it something that becomes something you desperately need? Because it's like we're distinguishing between primary and secondary needs or secondary satisfactions. It's like the deep sensation of being loved for who you are, no matter what, is a primary satisfaction. The validation for the mask is a secondary satisfaction. And when we get hooked on the secondary stuff, because it doesn't really ever completely, deeply satisfy the primary stuff, it can become like an addiction. So in itself, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad, and it's great. Take the validation. It's wonderful. But just be aware of the difference. Is this something I'm hooked at, or is it truly authentic? And only you can answer that for you. Is it a thing of true integrity where I am, it's like, why am I doing this? And you will know, is this truly authentic? Or is it something you're trying to achieve that can not be achieved through what you're doing? It doesn't mean what you're doing. It doesn't mean what you're doing is bad, especially with the success programs, if you want. It's people who have these in a really deep way become total superstars and really amazing. Um, yeah, exactly. So you're saying I notice as I work harder to achieve more, I want more validation. So I equate validation with acceptance. So it's like the attempted solution of becoming better and better and better when you get all this validation and acceptance is holding the problem in place even if it feels good. This is now we're on to like the real key here. While if you were totally at peace, if you had that future here and now, if you had the love, if you had the acceptance, you might make different choices. You might not, but you would definitely have more freedom around it. So it doesn't become that, oh, just prove next that you're incredible, because you are. But it's like, do you feel that deep inside, or are you looking for some outside to make you feel good? So this is just that deepening of the process where we're just going the other way and seeing what's really going on here. Um, and for our the shining your light or turn your light on is key, that has to do with our identity, with our personalities, with our masks, with our self-concept, and who you think you are. Who do you think you are? Um, the goal here is really, can you show up naked? Can you show up as authentically as you can? Can you see the purpose of the masks you've been trying to create? You know, is it, are you putting off life until you're perfect? When I made the money, when I reach this, when I've accepted, it's like one day, someday I'll be, or I need to hold it together to be good enough? Or are you okay as you are right now? No matter where you are on the journey, no matter if you're tired, if you're sick of holding it there. Um, what do you fear you are? You what do you fear you're not? Who do you fear you're not? So these are, this is basically the deepest thing that we're working on. The sensation of self. It really impacts, things like allergies, immune system issues. It's like if you think of the immune system asking the question, is this me or is it not? You know, what is me, what is not? Boundaries, identity, mask. Our identity or our sense of self, who we think we are, impacts everything else. It impacts our beliefs and values. It impacts our capabilities. It impacts, the environments we create. Obviously, it's a two-way street where that impacts us as well. But that sense of self is at the deepest core of anything, and especially this work. So, hold those questions for a bit. Because this is something you need to get on a deep level, not just on an understanding level. Does this make sense to you? So, who do you fear you're not? Who do you are? I'm just going to test. Yeah, fear I'm not good enough to others. So, the question is, are you good enough for you in your own eyes? And there's the eyes again. Are you good enough? That's a question for you to answer. Good enough for whom? Good enough at what? It's like, again, that focus that comes from, it's like, if I'm worrying about, am I good enough for others? How do I need to hold my energy? Yeah, so Faisal says, I fear I'm not good enough for others or to others. And Abdullah says, I fear I'm not impressing others. It's two different things, but they're quite similar energies because the focus is on others. The heart chakra and the upper part of our bodies, the upper chakras, are focused outwards. What's expected of me? What's going on around me from me? In order for me to be okay, you know. And it takes you away from the question, what do you want? What do you like? Take away from the place, the second chakra, where you actually get satisfaction, where you get fulfillment. It's like it becomes like the drug of striving to impress other people, to be good enough for other people. And you get a hit every now and then where people say, wow, you're such a good person, or you're so impressive, or you're so amazing. And that feels amazing, but it's not really, really dealing with the deep issue. It's not healing the deep issue. Can you understand what I mean? Yeah, so without my mask, people will not accept me. Yeah, you have no idea how terrified I was of trying to let go of my masks. It was really, really scary. It was like it felt like life or death, to do that. So it's like the question is, if you were to show up naked, you're the true, authentic self. Who is your true, authentic self? And there's gotta be a couple of layers, of a person who's not you either. This is the thing. It's like if let me see if I can try to draw this. So it's like we have this person. Oh, it's not gonna be good. I'm using this mouse against my computer and it's not that good. Hey. So if this is like who I fear, let me see. Who I fear I am is this person where I might have made mistakes, people might have judged me, people have rejected me. So this is like who I fear I am. So in order to fix that, no one must see this person. No one needs to see this person because this guy is horrible. This guy is, flawed. He's not good enough. He's broken. He's ugly. He's, whatever. So we build this perfect mask on top of it. Yeah, I'll cover up that guy so that no one can see him. Ooh, God, the part of it shows terrifying. Okay, so then you get to uh, this guy who is the perfect mask. He's covering up the other guy. So it's like no one can see them. But the problem is we feel alien from ourselves. Somehow we desperately have to hold this outer mask in place. And that's what becomes like a drug. So every time somebody confirms it, it's like, yay, it's in place. Yay, 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 yay. But deep inside, for most people, this will feel really wrong. Like something's not right. Something doesn't feel right. Something's not quite good. And the paradox, the strange thing, is that inside here, on the inner side, beneath who I fear, once we start connecting with ourselves, we will find another person who's like a diamond essence, who is the core of perfection, who is true feeling, who's true self-expression, um, and who's actually a person we can really like, and who people really like, because once they see you, they really relax in themselves. So I'm just going to write one thing and then I'm going to explain something. The essence of you. Now, the problem is when you are trying to go from the perfect mask to find the diamond essence, you're going to meet this person who is who you fear. You're going to meet the needy feelings. You're going to meet the fears. You're going to meet all of those emotions that were buried because they scared you at some time in your life. And then you're gonna think, it's like, oh my God, is this me? This needy, angry, sad, this and this person with all this stuff? Is this really me? And then we run back and we put the mask back on because it's too scary. We met the red one, the who I fear, and we thought that was us, and we're like, I'm not showing anyone that because that's not good. So we put the mask back on and then we continue. So the attempted solution holds the problem in place. The problem is the solution. The thing is, we have to go through feelings. We have to go through that person who might not always be pretty, who needs things, who's sad, who's upset. But then once we confront it, once we work through those issues, which is really what we're doing in this program, as you know, it dissolves. It is no longer there. It's just you and the diamond essence. That's what's left. And when you truly connect to that, you really have no need to perform. Like I'm not saying you will kill your ambition, because you might still want to have, successful career. You might still want to have all the stuff. You might want to have the Ferrari. You might want to have the nice house. But it's coming from a different place. It's coming from a totally different place, and it's no longer a drug that's just covering up what we fear we are. Does this make sense at all? This is where most human beings are stuck and trapped and upset, you know? And it's like when we can reassure them and say, it's a human condition, it's a human thing. This is what's going on. And you're okay. Something in you is true perfection, and you're okay. Your struggles, fears, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. And you can start letting go of them. And even if you just confront part you fear on your own for a while, and work through it on your own, or with people you really trust to be there for you, it can start letting go. It can start releasing, so that you can finally get to a place of freedom. Because that's what it's about: freedom and having more choice. Not being driven to have to always wear the mask, because it's exhausting. It is that whole, trying to keep an inflated beach ball underwater at all times. It takes a lot of energy to hold the mask in place. And when you reach that kind of diamond essence, it's, yeah, it's exhausting. That's exactly it. Yeah, Abdullah's writing, it's exhausting. And it is so tiring. So it's like, to be allowed to be. And yeah, you can still get up, get life done, and you can perform and you can do that. But it's not a have to. It's not a compulsive drive. That's where we want to arrive to, and to just start dissolving that mask, and start just even playing with the idea in your nervous system that it says, you know what, you can let go now. You can let go. It's all right. There's something to catch you on the other side. Because, if people start removing the mask, and all they find is this part of themselves that they really fear, and they don't have any reassurance that there is that diamond essence on the other side. There is love, there is truth, there is self-acceptance, there is freedom. Then as soon as they start confronting the person fear, or start feeling the person they fear, they're going to stop and run back. So to understand that there is something to hold it is really key here. So I'm not going to say a whole lot more about this, because these are, although they're very simple things in terms of the material, it's actually really deep, and it touches us on a very, very core level. So I just wanted to ask you to continue exploring the love mask, the power mask, the serenity mask. Which one do you put on? And what effect does it have in your life? What's the impact of wearing these masks for you? What is the impact? What is the impact? And then in a good way and in a bad way. So it's like, how does it help you and how does it hurt you? For me, it helped yeah, I was totally self-sufficient. Totally self-sufficient, but it was exhausting. It was really lonely to wear that power mask. It was like I couldn't even feel the loneliness. I thought I was fine, like in a way, but I was tense. I was, like I had like this body armor. Um, and so the good thing is I got really good at things. I got really good at getting things done. I got really good at being self-sufficient, but it was just a lonely place to be. It was very isolated. It felt like an island, you know? So think about this for you, in this week to come or the days to come. Um, which one do you wear? You might wear more than one, but which one is your kind of main one? And what's the impact? Good and bad, Like, no one never knew I needed anything, and I don't think I knew either. And then, what is it you want people to see? What are you afraid that they'll see? Who do you fear you are, and who do you fear you're not? What does it mean to show up making the true, authentic self? To really let people see you fully and completely. And yeah, just think a little bit and feel these three layers. How are they impacting your life? How are you putting on the perfect mask? What is it inside you that you fear? And just know that there is a real essence inside. Yeah. Nikki says it's scary to show your true self. I think most people, I met very few people who are totally free around this. Some people pretend they are, and they're not really either. So, and it's okay. Just feel that fear, feel that uncomfortable feeling, whatever it is for you. It might be very vulnerable, and just as if you could be loved fully and completely for what you really are. What would that like? That's the question. So if you would just hold these questions and keep exploring, what this is like for you. And if you want to drop me an email afterwards, or if anything comes up for you, please feel free to um, let me know your story around this. If you want to meet and have a chat on Skype or something about it, it's absolutely fine. One of the deepest work we do, like it might not sound that deep, but it really is, because it touches on the whole system. Once we touch on identity, it impacts the entire system of what we are. Other parts work, it might be emotional, it might be deep in another way, but this is like the web that that impacts and touches everything. Does anyone have any more questions about this, or any comments that you want to share now? It's perfectly fine if you don't. Um, we can cover this as we go, but if you do, please, um, please ask me now. Okay, so we'll see. So let's type in something, so we'll just see what that is first. Anyway, nothing's coming up, so I will leave you with this. Oh, here we go. So take the mask off. We have to face our fears. Yeah, that is exactly it. It's like, what do you are on the inside? What emotion is it that you fear that's coming up? Could be that it's like, I mean, one example is if you have somehow decided that you're not allowed to be angry or ugly, or have demanding feelings, then you might have suppressed those, and we need to feel those in order to move forward. Or it might be that you fear is just being vulnerable and reaching out and asking something from someone. So yeah, we have to face our fears, or feel our fears, sense our fears. But yeah, definitely. So it's like, who do you fear you are? What is that part that you felt like you had to cover up? What is the part that you felt like you had to put a mask on? So it's like, whatever your mask is, you might want to ask yourself, what's the purpose of my mask? What was the purpose? Because it's created out of perfection. It's created out of a perfect plan that you needed at the time. And everyone does it in some form. There's nothing wrong with it, but it keeps people stuck. It keeps people in a place of compulsion and trying to do the wrong thing. Not that it's wrong in itself. They're trying to reach, for example, a thing like trying to get loved by being perfect on the outside, having acceptance, having yeah, so I have to make mistakes and be okay if it doesn't fit with my idea of perfection. Yeah, that's exactly it. And if you do, just notice the feeling of the discomfort, because you're going to come up against that conflicting thing where part of you feels like to get what you want to get on a deep level, you have to be perfect. So if you do make a mistake, you're going to be confronted with that. It's like, oh, now I'm not getting X, whatever X is. So it's like, yeah, something to do with acceptance, love, and so we want to get closer and closer and closer to the thing that we fear and the thing that we're truly looking for. And by doing that, we need to go into the problem. So any uncomfortable feeling that comes up, instead of going out of it and putting the mask back on and trying to feel better, go into it. And you do that through the physical body. Any uncomfortable feeling, just breathe into it, feel into it, get curious about it, and just feel deeper and deeper and deeper into it. That's the point of, as I said, we call this thing that down the rabbit hole. We keep following the uncomfortable feeling, following the symptom, instead of just covering it up. Yeah, so Isa's asking, it feels scary to show my authentic self. I need to go into those feelings. Exactly. So where do you feel the fear? Where do you notice that fear? It says it's scary. So just you follow the rabbit down the hole by feeling the fear. Where do I notice it? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your chest? Is it in your hips? Is it in your shoulders? In your eyes? Wherever it is, just go in and feel it. And if it moves, follow it. So you're looking at following what's uncomfortable. And this is very different than focusing on the negative or focusing on what's wrong. But we're just going, okay, where's the root? I'm going back here to pull up this root. And at some point, it will just dissolve. It will just disappear. And once the system has been disturbed and changed on the core level, once we found the root and we disturb it at that level, the symptom it will never return. Everything starts to reorganize. It's like we have messed up the system. We have ruined the old software, the code, so it's going to run the same program anymore. But we need to get to the root. As long as we're just following it like halfway down, we haven't pulled up the root. So we need to get to the base of it, the core, the starting point. And we do that by following these sensations, the feelings, the fears, until we get there. Does this make sense? So it's like we're doing the opposite of what most people are trying to do, whether they're trying to, oh, I need to get even better. I just need to make more money. I just need to get another doctorate. I just need to do this. It's like we're doing the exact opposite. I mean, you can do both, it's not like we're trying to take away from one, but the thing that's going to change the system in a way that's beneficial long term is to follow in the opposite direction what we intuitively want to do. So the problem is the solution. The symptom is the gift and the messenger that we follow. And the key here, if you want to get really good at this and really clear it for yourself and others, is learning to follow and learning to listen to the subtle sensation in the nervous system body. That's the key. Whether it is going, okay, like if you scan your entire body, I think, where are there blocks? Where are there any tension, in the muscles, in the fascia, in any part, in the organs themselves, what am I holding and where am I holding it? And the eyes is obviously a big thing for a lot of people. The eyes and the face, the jaw, the shoulders, and very often tension is organized to keep our attention away from our stomachs, because the stomach is usually where we hold emotions, the feelings. And sometimes that can be just too much. The second chakra is the inner child, the emotional self. So, yeah, bodies are talking, let's listen. So, yeah, so any symptom, follow it with curiosity. Anything. If you have a pain in your knee, follow it. If you have a headache, follow it. If you have subtle sensations of discomfort, it's great to do at night, like scan your body and say, where am I not allowing energy to go? Where am I not allowing breath to go? And follow it, follow it, follow it, follow it. See what happens if I do bring energy to that place. What happens? Breathe into the place that my subconscious somehow have decided not to breathe into. What is it hiding? What is it blocking from my attention? So as much as you can do this, and just follow the rabbit down the hole. Keep curious, keep interested, and learn to decipher that language of the body. Then you can literally heal anything. You can, get in touch with anything. You can release anything. And for those of you who've ever, studied therapeutic, therapy method like talk therapy and or have been in therapy and where you just sit and talk without attention being brought down to body, you can imagine what that does in terms of understanding the story, which is useful and interesting. But when the body is not involved, when the sensations of the body is not involved, it's like things just aren't released. So it's like we can go back for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years and talk about the same stuff, and it's still there. It just hasn't been released. While if you do it the right way and go into it, you could release it really fast. Change happens fast. We just need to find the root. And then the system can dissolve within seconds. So yeah, we're on track. I will let you go for today with this. We've covered quite a lot, although it's simple concepts. The key here is to learn to read the subtleties of the nervous system, and that's not necessarily easy, but it just takes practice. It's one of those things where you just really need to do it. I can talk about it for 10 years and nothing changes unless you do it in your body. So I'd like to invite you to do that. Just as you go to sleep tonight, just take a couple of minutes and see what is it and follow whatever's there, following it. And wherever that rabbit runs, follow it. So thank you so much for showing up. There was only the few of us today, and I think that was actually really a great gift because we could explore our own issues, and I think that was really useful, even for the others who listen in later on. I think that's actually much better. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will speak to you soon. Feel free to drop an email, or if you want to have a chat on Skype or whatever, just let me know. So I'm here. So thank you so much, and I'll speak to you very soon.